I'm back online. Back online. Had to automate a couple of videos for a little bit for a couple of reasons, but I've been being sent rage attacks. Rage. I've had a lot of feelings projected onto me that are not mine, and I have to learn how to handle that. And at first, I thought that I was just learning how to handle that because, well, it doesn't feel good to have rage. But to be honest, you need it sometimes. I need it a lot of times. Um, Sometimes when I feel rage, it's certain spirits and energies sometimes that come to me. Um, and then I think I can't come back too many times to this energy because they're gonna get me in trouble. Um, because that's what the energy is. The energy is an energy of rage, and so it's very I have to learn how to manage it still, and I channel them all the time. And sometimes my ancestors are in a rage, and that is what it is. And that's just what I'm experiencing, as whether it is with prayer, whether it is with just energies dropping by. And, you know, I can't explain that to everyone, what that's like. You either know if you know, or you don't if you don't, right? But so, anyway, today, just give me a second here. Okay, and let me see. I need a moderator for my lives. It's not that it gets that chaotic, but sometimes people do a little bit too much in my lives. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, um, so let me go ahead and record this video. I don't know if anybody saw the eclipse outside. I mean, I didn't see it directly. I was outside earlier. I didn't see it directly. But it was definitely happening. So forgive my headscarf thing here. I just need to cover my head. Um, it was definitely happening. It was like the whole sky got dark. I thought that was so interesting. Today's a very interesting day. I think it's a very spiritually significant day, but I'm sure other people know more about that than me. What the first thing I want to start off today with is I am making black salt. And so it's super simple, it's very easy, but I was gonna do it anyway, so I thought, why not include it in my life? Um, so I typically, this is one of the things that I burn my sage in, one of the glasses. It's just from an old candle. And oddly enough, I picked this up. Now, back in the day, I wouldn't pick up things that look like this because, like, what would everybody say? Like, oh my God, it's a skull and this and that. But anyway, I burned my sage in here, and these are the ashes of the sage. And the reason I like to burn my sage on top of things like this is because there's a bit of candle wax at the bottom. And sometimes I burn sage and stuff like that when I'm either not in the room or while I'm sleeping, like I fall asleep and it's still burning. So, excuse me. So the wax kind of forms a layer at the bottom that will assist with the bottom of the glass not getting too hot. I save all the ashes from my sage. And it's so odd because I do all of these things. The person throwing energy at me right now, I'm going to destroy you. I swear to God when I'm done. I swear to God. Don't come on my live with this bullshit. Anyway, I save the ashes from my sage and I use them later. So I save all of the ashes in this huge container and I save it over time. And then when it's time to protect the perimeter of my home, Then I use the ashes and mix with coarse salt. And that's it. It's that simple. And like I said, I was gonna do it today anyway, so I thought, why not do it on live? I use coarse salt. And like I said, you don't have to use coarse salt, but coarse salt is the best salt to use either way. And then I find that doing it this way, it makes sure that I don't have waste in whatever I'm doing. And it kind of extends the salt. So normally if I were gonna use like a couple packs of salt, I really only have to use 1 pack of salt now. So to do the parameter of a house, and just depends on like how big your house is, it takes a lot of salt, like cases of salt. But now when I mix all of this together, I have a bunch of it. And so I'm gonna take this and I'm going to spread it all over in different parts of my home. Now I'll usually do it like around windows, around the parameter of my home, because it's kind of like putting putting sage in a physical form. And I don't know if you experience, well, I don't think anybody here truly like experiences sage like that, but sage burns your skin. If you are, I don't know what to, the word is evading me right now, but if you energetically project into people's space and they have sage, the sage burns and it's itchy and it feels like prickly on your skin. It's not comfortable to come through. So this is why you want to protect your space with, and this is what it looks like, black salt, ashes of sage, and coarse salt. The coarse salt by itself is already fairly good and it's already not comfortable to come through. So mixing the two very much, you know, just adds that extra layer of protection. So I was gonna do this anyway, and I brought 2 packs, but this is probably gonna be enough as it is like that. So there's that on that. That's a fun tip to go ahead and give. Now I don't always do it. It's not all the time I do certain things, but if you are going through a spiritual attack right now, if you're going through a spiritual battle, if you are being gang stalked and people are astral projecting into your space, you're gonna need to protect your space no matter what. You're going to need to protect your space. So that's one thing that you want to do. So there's that. Oddly enough, I had this whole, it's like a download that I've been getting, but like for days. It's like a little bit more every day. And it's funny because it's called I Am the Christ. Now, during my spiritual journey, first of all, I always understood that this was a twofold, what would I call it? A twofold ascension. It was like a 2-for-1, but it's like multiple things are happening here all at once. I think it's genius and I am thankful for it, because imagine having to break apart these journeys and do all of this one at a time. It would be ridiculous for me personally. It would probably go on for too long. My ancestors are obviously eager for me to start my life, and for us to start doing whatever it is that we need to be doing. Now, as I'm going live, I'm gonna put these against my skin because I have an idiot in my live right now that is doing magic on me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and protect myself. And so you put the crystals on you and they could send the energy over, and you know, it's a waste of their time. During this ascension, it has been multiple things going on, and every day I gain more and more and more perspective as to why have things happened and why has it happened the way that it's happened. So one of the first things that I've had to learn during this ascension is how to endure. How to endure loads of magic, and then how to clean it. Now, if you're going through an ascension, you were actually prepared for ascension from before. I'm going to speak for myself. I was absolutely prepared for my ascension from before. So, everything from, I think even my baking, the fact that I bake is significant. Me baking is one thing. Me planting, growing herbs is another thing. Growing up where I grew up, I think that's significant. Having the family, like my grandmother with me, that has been significant. It's like I have just been like walked down this path for a very long time. People that I've met along the way, people that have introduced me to concepts and all of it has been significant. So it's nothing new. I think I used to come on here and be like, and be like, people were telling people I was a dark witch and all of that. And I was just like, why would anybody believe that of me? And maybe possibly people saw things in me that I was in denial of. I wouldn't even say that I didn't see, but I was just in denial of. So I meet people every now and again, and they're magical people, but they don't know. And they're walking around like they're normal people. And they don't know that they are magical. And how can you tell a person who's it's not like they're doing anything that's supernatural. It's just, I don't know, it's like how they behave. It's like everybody has different gifts. But anyway, I'm not gonna spend too much time in trying to figure out like how do I know? How does one know? I have no idea. What I can say is this much. Perhaps people, evil people, saw that in me before I saw that in me. And so I can't necessarily say that I'm gonna be a witch or I am a witch or anything like that. I definitely know that I have a very close relationship to my ancestors for sure. For which I am very grateful. And I definitely know that the spirit world is extremely real. It is extremely real. And throughout the journey, every single time I have tried, just even for 1 second, to say, okay, maybe I'm imagining this. Maybe this is not real. Maybe these things could be explained in another way. Every single time I've tried, it's like, it's pointless. It's fruitless. Everybody going through gang stalking, being actively gang stalked, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling where you're trying to ask yourself, like, what is going on here? And you would think that a lot of certain kind of things would happen, and it would happen with little old ladies with their hair kind of tied up the way that mine's tied up right now, etc. Like, you would think that would be what a witch looks like. You would not think that corporations are using witchcraft. You would not believe, or you would not think that the government is studying witchcraft or spell work or whatever you want to call it. You wouldn't think that. It wouldn't be your natural thought because you're used to stereotypes. So maybe because I didn't, you know, have all of these practices and do all of these things, I thought perhaps, there's no way, not me. And I grew up in a religious household as well. So I just wouldn't think that this would be something that I would be open to, that I would consider, etc. But it has been a slow walk towards it. And anyway, to be honest with you, 2 years prior, we're 2024, so then maybe 2021, I want to say. Anyway, I used to be, I was slowly being walked into that anyway, because it started with the astrology, like I've always said. It started with astrology, and then it kind of evolved from astrology to like tarot. And then I got super into just reading tarot, and then it was like little things here and there, like the altar and whatnot. And this spiritual journey has been things that are continuing, I'm not going to say that have, but continue to occur, but very naturally. Every day there's a new thing. It's not as if someone gives me a book and says, here, study. It's that things happen, energy sent towards me, and I gotta clean it up. I gotta heal it either way because I'm not gonna sit in it for sure. Um, I'm gonna use it in some way as well. Um, or it's gonna be I'm gonna naturally do things, but I don't know the significance of what I'm doing a lot of the time. I don't know, like, I'm doing this because of this, or I'm doing that to counteract that, or whatever, whatever. Like, I don't actually know. So when I was going through, I'm very into candles, always have been, scented candles especially, and I always had them around my house. And when I moved to my last home, I had a bunch of candles all over the place. And I got into just lighting the candles, but for whatever reason, I had black candles laying around. And thinking back now, there were odd times where I would just go pick up my black candles and light them. And the other thing is, I would always keep candles going like into the night, into me sleeping, and etc., etc. And I didn't know the significance of what I was doing until I stopped doing it. So if I fell off or of doing something, or if I ran out of candles or whatever, I would notice a difference in the environment in the house. I would notice a difference in my meditations. I would always just do things that I didn't know that I should be doing, like lighting candles at a particular time, or during prayer or whatever. I just thought it was ambiance. Like, I'm taking a spiritual bath and I'm lighting some candles, or I'm praying and I'm lighting some candles, or this or that. But there was a lot of significance to it. And I'm finding this out now after the fact. What I want to talk about today is what I wrote here is I am the Christ. Now, I've talked about being gang stalked as being a Christ walk. I'm speaking specifically to my situation of being gang stalked, to be forced into being a drug mule. And I really believe that the purpose that they wanted me to be a drug mule was to siphon off my energy, of course, bind me into a spiritual community, that is worked on night and day. So having me enslaved in something, getting rid of me, and someone taking away the path in my life that I should have for myself. Lucky for me, I never considered one day that being an attractive lifestyle for me. I've discussed before that nobody actively comes and says, would you like to be in the cartel? Because the answer would be no. That's the obvious answer. They put you in the position, they trick you. You end up on a plane. Now you're coming back. Now you're smuggling drugs. The first time you do it, now you're locked in and you're stuck for life. They really want you stuck for life. And this is an organization that is modern day slavery. It's modern day slave labor. So they have all of these people, and everybody that's in it is stuck. Everybody. They've set up the system where nobody gets out, and they use spell work. So Spirit had to come personally to handle dealing with this situation because they know how these people are. And in the process of me fighting these people and these energies, more so, because it's not just the people, it's the energies, spiritually fighting off what was happening, I was defending my house, protecting my house. Now, I've discussed I think that video is coming up today, actually at 6 p.m. That video is coming up, and I might just extend it a little bit longer so that this video can maybe live a little bit longer on my YouTube feed. But a house is not just a physical house. A house is not just money or, you know, where you live. Your house is everything. Your house is your spouse, your house is your children, your house is your business, your house is everything. Your legacy. That's what I describe a house as, your legacy. So I had to defend that from people. Let me just, you know what? I'll make this video come live tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6. So I had no choice but to defend my house. And actually, I felt like these people stole from me. Not I felt like they did. They stole, they stole a marriage. They stole a child. John Ferrer stole a pregnancy. They took a lot. They took a lot. And that's why the situation is playing out in the way that it's playing out right now. This situation has already been laid to rest spiritually. Everything has been, you know, handled spiritually. That's why people have that odor on them. They're already astrically, they're already, you know, they're it's been dealt with. But in the course of dealing with that, this wasn't about it being dealt with. It could have been dealt with much easier, much faster. So it wasn't about it being dealt with. It was about the training. It was about the journey. It was about how it was being dealt with. So I had to walk that spiritual path to get there. And that's truly what it was about. It was about getting there. I've had all kinds of things happen spiritually and everything that they could possibly think of for voodoo dolls and all that. It's so funny because Goddess Guidance, one of the girls I listened to, one of those readers, she said that she doesn't want to come online because they're going to make voodoo dolls. They already have my voodoo dolls. In fact, the voodoo dolls are fighting back. They've had the voodoo dolls so long. You know when you have a voodoo, when someone has a voodoo doll of you. You know when someone has a voodoo doll of you, for sure. So, you know, I've gone through a significant amount of things. They've thrown everything at me, including the kitchen sink. Spiritually speaking, they've thrown everything. They've thrown so much that so much was returned back that it's now toppled their house. And their house is a grand house. It's a big house, I'd say. And I say house metaphorically, but we're talking about a legacy. We're talking about, and a house doesn't have to belong to just an individual. A house can be an organization. There's an organization that's falling apart. Hold on. There's an organization that is now falling apart. And the reason this organization is falling apart is because this organization is just another form of the slavery that was abolished. So they abolished slavery in one way, and then they reestablish it with drug culture. And that's what it does. It spiritually binds people. It marries people. People are married into this game. I've often described this as a video game. And I've often said that it doesn't truly matter to me what the scenery is. It's the game. It's the you don't get into a video game. You don't play a video game to get to the end and be like, I won. You play a video game so that you can find yourself learning throughout the game so that you can experience it. And they make the game very creative. So they make the game in such a way where you'll see different sceneries, different characters. You'll have different hurdles. You'll have different things that you go through during the course of the game. And does it really matter if the scenery is in Moscow or if it's in Japan? It really doesn't. It's about learning the game. And that's exactly what I've gone through. We have a little bit of moderation going on in this live. I want to know how YouTube is working, that people can take people in and out of my live, because people do want to come into my live, but I can see now this is the same thing that used to happen on Instagram. But you know, there are little annoyances, unfortunately. This is part of the game too. There are annoyances that you have to tolerate until it's game over. And we're at the last leg and people know that. So it's better for me to tolerate people being kicked out of my life and perhaps not getting the messages that I'm delivering than, say, me catching HIV or me losing everything or me being blamed for toppling an empire, because that's what's happening right now. All the energy that these people created and sent my way was sent back. And that's why I had to sit there and I had to endure it. And while I was enduring it, it was looking as if it wasn't working, or to the outside, it was looking like the things that they were doing was working, or that my ancestors weren't actually pulling through, or that nobody was helping me, and that was far from the truth. I was 100% being aided. But it had to happen this way because they needed to generate enough of their own energy to destroy themselves. And that's what happened. They want to know, how did it happen? How did I do it? And they fail to understand how many death spells that they sent. And if you send a death spell to someone and the death spell doesn't hit, then it's gone somewhere. The first one that I knew of was December of 2022. I just came from the mall. I did my Christmas shopping. And then that's when I noticed it. That's when I noticed that energy, and it was strong and I knew it was there. That was the first one that they sent. Everything that they sent after that was very weak. It was like, it was enough for me to know that it happened, but it wasn't enough for me to like really, it wasn't enough to care about. Now, there was one that was sent and they were sure that this one was going to work, but they figured that they would hire someone for this one because this one didn't come from him. I was watching a reading and the reading was talking about, you know, how the situation is going to unfold. And I guess that must have triggered someone and they sent it. And then one of the houses next to mine blew up. And I knew it was meant for me because when I went downstairs, they asked everybody to go downstairs. And when I went downstairs, the Latino girl in the lobby, her soul damn near jumped out of her body when she saw me walk into the lobby with my cats. And that means that they just wanted that to happen. Now, the thing about it is they brag a lot. So they tell people that things are going to happen, and then the things that are supposed to happen never happen. And then people contribute to looking like a liar and a fool over and over and over again because they just talk too much. They brag and they do too much. These are people who do spell work on camera. These are people who do spell work in their stories. They do blood magic in their stories. These are the kind of people that we're talking about here. People who do not use any sort of respect for spirituality. It's like they just teach it like how to bake a cake, how to make cookies. And it is not about a spiritual relationship. It has nothing to do with tapping into ancestors. It has nothing to do with any of that. Now, I perhaps didn't formally know how to do spell work in the way that I assumed other people were doing spell work. I'll tell you that much. However, regardless of that, I am very close to my ancestors, and that's the relationships. Those are the relationships that I nurture. And it's funny because I've always been, I just never knew what it felt like. I just never knew what it was. I've always been. And only now I've learned, oh, this is what's happening here. It's ancestors that are with me. It's them that are talking to me. It's them that are keeping me happy and comforted and all of that. And so it's so crazy because as soon as, you know, while I was being gang stalked, I was playing a lot of gospel music. I was reading my Bible, etc. And I remember one of the readings saying, oh, they think that you believe in Jesus, and they think that's ridiculous because that's not something that they believe in. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, that's fine. And it went from telling people that I believe in Jesus, and then they told people that I pray to the devil and I'm a dark witch. It's been a lot of conflicting stories that they've told people. So God knows, it probably looks like people don't know what the heck they're talking about. But that's what made them comfortable, is when I would come here and I would talk about God and Jesus and all of that. Well, I never talked about Jesus, to be honest, because to be honest with you, I've always said like that I just don't, I'm not Christian. So, but that made them comfortable, because regardless of me saying that, I would be praying and listening to gospel music, etc. And it's like, it made people comfortable. What started to make people uncomfortable was when I started talking about wanting to learn root work. And then all of a sudden, all of the messaging across my Instagram started talking about Jesus. Now, that's the thing. That's what a slave owner gives you when you start talking about your ancestry. When you start tapping into ancestors and you start talking about things like that, they start talking about, that's what they want to give you, is Jesus. Jesus this and Jesus that. And a lot of people do not understand, like, all the Jesus people with the crucifixes around their neck and all of that are stuck in the matrix from celebrities onward. They're stuck in the matrix. They have the crucifix around their head. They're praying to Jesus, and then they're going to go shoot people, sell drugs, and do a bunch of stuff. What kind of Jesus is that? That's what they always want to give you whenever you're stepping into your actual power. They want to give you Jesus. If you're being gang stalked, I advise you to find an ancestor on the other side and start praying for help, that somebody can fight these battles with you. And there's nothing wrong with the Bible or any holy book. They all make sense. But as far as the Jesus juice, I would put it down. And I said that with my chest, and I'm not taking it back. So Christians have to learn that they are not the center of the universe. And Christianity was given to you to confuse you. That's it, and that's all. Open your eyes to the real world and what is going on here. Ancestors come to help you with things, and you're thanking Jesus. Jesus never came to me ever, not once. I did not have one single Caucasian man come into my dream and said, I'm here to help. Not one. Not one time. Had a lot of things come to me, dream, awake, at all times, but Jesus just was not one. So other religions, they have it correct. The Hindus, they have something going on there. Muhammad never came to me, so I can't speak about that. I could speak about Ganesh. I could speak about Shiva. I could speak about, Kali. I can't speak about other things that I don't understand, that I don't know. So if Jesus works for whoever it works for, and you're adamant about Jesus, the people who come on here and comment about Jesus are spiritualists. They don't believe in that Jesus thing, not for a second. That's a joke. And they can't convince me. This is the path that nobody wanted me to step into. Nobody wanted me to step into saying, I want to learn about root work. I want to learn about spell work. I want to learn what they're doing. I want to see what they're doing. They don't want that. So that's why they bring a lot of the Jesus stuff all the time. Now, normally I would be able to handle the whole Jesus conversation pretty well and just tell people, no, I'm not interested. Hold on, I gotta put this thing away. And just tell people that I am not interested, and I could say that calmly, but people project energy at you, and that is something that you must know. The same way that someone can project anxiety at you. Whether they're in your vicinity or not, they project these feelings at you, but this is not your feeling, and then you're experiencing it. You're experiencing the feeling of anxiety, but you're not anxious. You have nothing to be anxious about. I talk about all the time how when you're being gang stalked, they project anxiety at you, and you're feeling anxious about things that are not like real problems. Like you're worrying about, in my case, I was worrying about money, but I make money every single day. I know as soon as I get up and I go to the mall, I'm gonna go make money, and I have enough to pay my bills and whatnot. So it's like, where is this coming from? you're being projected anxiety so that your breathing is abnormal. People are artificially putting you in a situation because they need you physically ill so you can't work. They need you physically ill. So they're sending the energy of physical illness to you. And then they're putting your body in a state where it will be more likely to be sick because your nervous system is under stress. You can't breathe properly. You're you got to get that under control right away. As you're being sent energy, you're being put in these situations and you're being sent the energy because you need to learn to get over it. You need to learn to jump that hurdle. My entire life, I have constantly not had things easy. People think I have things easy and I don't. If somebody has something and they get a machine and the machine will work for them right away, doesn't work the same way for me. If I get the machine has a problem. I need to troubleshoot. I need to go online. I need to do this. I need to do that. And so I've been so accustomed my entire life to having extra steps in everything that I do. But now I see why. Because if I was too used to having things normally, it would be incredibly frustrating. So now I always have a way around, a workaround with everything that I do. So I'm used to it. That is normal to me. I am constantly working around something that is not working the way that it's supposed to work. So when people put frustrating things on my path, it's like it's life. It's everyday life. And that's what you need to adapt to. If you haven't been in that situation, you need to adapt to extra steps for everything you do and not just being a part of life and not allowing it to frustrate you. So if, say, for example, you're supposed to have something come to you and it doesn't come, perhaps you just need to a workaround. You need to go work around it. I want to do something in business and I can't do it this way. Well, you know what? Work around. You need to remain enduring all the time. You need to remain moving all the time. It's just life. People are going to be stepping in your way because they don't want you to have what you have. And this is part of your course. So for you to step into the destiny that God intends for you, and I talked about the dough being beat up so much and becoming resilient and having a thick skin because you're going to need it for where you're going to go and what you're going to be being put through. You are going to need a thick skin. You're going to need to not be frustrated with everything happening. Now, as I was being sent, projected all this energy of anger and of rage, I understood that, first of all, this is not my energy because I know my energy. I'm very calm. I can differentiate my energy from energy of spirits around me and also the energy that's being projected to me. And so I was like, I need to be able to manage this energy. Sometimes it's like if I'm channeling or I'm speaking to spirit or I'm getting a download or whatever, the download comes in rage because that's how they feel. They're upset. And so I have to take that energy and rework it and deliver the message in a way, in a different way. In a different way, I have to get control of myself. I can't just be in a state of constant rage. First of all, it depletes a lot of energy. It's very draining. Everything that you're going through is learning. It's a learning curve. And they send the messages when the messages need to be sent. Don't you ever think that you only have to depend on tarot readers. My messages have come from all over. Whether it's a book in my house, a phrase on a bottle, a video ad that comes along across my page, a meme. There's a message in everything. Something that I'm doing, me baking, there is a message in everything. There's constant messages all the time. So your messages won't be skipped. And them tampering with the tarot readers and the oracles and spiritualists, it's fine. You will get the messages that you need. You'll get the correct messages as long as you're open to them. And this is why you have to work with your ancestors and become open to these things. Become open to messages, become open to learning, become open to new things. I've had to become open to a lot of new concepts, a lot of new ideas, doing things differently, finding workarounds, finding new ways. That's what it really boils down to. That is what it comes down to. You need to find new ways of doing things. So, part of managing the rage that's coming to me, and like I said, the rage is not just coming from being projected at me. It's also something that if I'm going to be working in the spirit realm, I'm going to have to deal with the different energies that come, and they come with their own energy, and I'm going to have to be able to handle that as well. So, you have to find ways to cope, and you have to find ways to feel comfortable in your environment. Right now, there are bombs over Baghdad, and you're not coming out of this war. You're not coming out of it. In the beginning, I thought it was just going to be a situation where I was going to pray, it was going to go away, and I would get back to my store and I would be the same person and I would continue on, on my life path. I thought it was a disruption. And really, it wasn't a disruption, it was guidance. I was being literally guided step by step into what I had to go, into the place I had to go, and into the person that I had to be. So every single lesson and the lessons do not stop until you learn them. And I learned that really quickly because I was like, listen, unless I learn the lesson, I'm not going to be relieved from this. So if I continue, as an example, to absorb rage and not know what to do with it, rage causes you to self-sabotage. It puts you in a situation where the you're not dealing with the factors in your environment responsibly. So until I learn to deal with the rage, I'm going to continue getting the rage. So now that I learn how to deal with the rage, we can jump over that into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that is what I'm in right now. I used to say like I'm playing life on hard mode, but honestly, it's just like a condensed course that is pretty much moving very fast. And I'm just expected to pick up very quickly. I am not being guided or taught by a human being who's handing me a book and then testing me. I'm being thrown into situations and I got to figure it out as I'm in the situation what I have to do. And I have to ask for help. And the help is not coming from a human voice, the help is coming from inside. So there was this one thing where I noticed that they wanted to really stop my downloads, to affect my meditations, to stop the downloads. But it's not downloads, it's uploads. It's coming from inside. Nobody's coming to give you the answers and the formulas to what you need. You need to let your guidance in to help you, and it will come from inside. The protection is already in you. So you do not need to look for something outside, whether or not I like a reader, I like what the reader's saying, etc. Now, don't even get me wrong. I've even come to the point where I like karmic readers. Like I enjoy listening to them because I enjoy their perspective. The only thing I don't want to hear is I don't want to hear any messages from someone who's not allowed to speak to me, sending me messages through a karmic reader. I could care less. As soon as I hear something that is a message from someone who knows that they shouldn't even be focused on me, that they should try to go get some healing, that they should try to go fix their own self, I'm tuning it out. But it's a really interesting perspective, the way karmic people think. It's disgusting, but it's interesting. Like, it'll really open your eyes as to, like, I don't want to say human nature because a lot of people are not like that, but how they think is insane. It's crazy. And they really think, despite doing evil things, and they do evil things round the clock all day, they really think, like, you listen to a karmic reading and they'll call themselves divine. So it's just interesting. The whole thing is interesting. But it's something that you gotta just walk the path. You gotta just walk the path. You got to stop thinking about when is this going to be done, and you got to walk the path. Because you're on the path to learn. You're on the path not just to learn about what's going on in the world around you, you're on the path to learn yourself. You're on the path to learn how strong you are. You know, I knew from very early on, before readers were even talking about it, I knew very early on that part of what I was doing is almost like taking back something that was already mine. I'll explain what I mean by that. So, I was looking for the post today on my Instagram, which was posted in November, and that fat bastard deleted the post where I posted on my Instagram about him. He's terrified right now about the police. I don't know what deleting the post would have done. What would deleting the post do when there's like so many police reports? But anyway, one of the things that I said on that post, one of the things I said was, my ancestors were slaves, and that is something I promised myself I'd never be. Now, I don't know if I said it verbatim like that or this is what I meant. Like, my ancestors were already slaves and I would never be a slave. See me, I don't watch slavery movies because I don't like getting triggered. And I also know it's not something that I'm going to do. I just know, and I know this, that if I was a slave, there's not a day I'm getting in that field to pick cotton or do anything. It's gonna be a revolt every single time. I know that I would have been one of the first slaves to die. I probably was. There's no way. I don't agree with it. And they would have probably had to get rid of people like myself very early on, because I would have led a revolt. It would not have happened. And I don't know why I said that at the time. Why did I mention slavery? Because I am all the way through my gang stalking journey, and I could tell you that it's slavery. They enslave people. People cannot leave. They barricade you. That's why they say no way out with confidence. They barricade you with gang stalking, with spiritual manipulation, with all kinds of things. They barricade you in that little cage, and they want to control every aspect of your life, including what you believe in, who you marry, who you're with, what you eat. They monitor everything. They want to know everything. And it's a mentality that they have. And so the John Ferreira person functions as almost like a sheep herder. He functions like a slave herder. And they keep people in line. When they go get these truck drivers at the border and they convince them, hey, you can just cross the border with this and that, they take the job once, and then when they don't want to do it anymore, that's when the gang stalking comes in, and now you know you're married to the game, and they can't get away. They can't get out of it. So that's what happens. And I remember November, I believe it was November, was it 2022 or 2021? It might have been 2022 when I made the post, or was it 2021? One of the two. I made the post and I said, my ancestors were slaves, and that's something that I'll never be. And it's crazy because if you think about it, what is slavery exactly? Slavery is not just forcing you to work. When they come and they enslave a culture, and we're not just talking about black people, we're talking about Syrians, we're talking about Romans, we're talking about any empire that enslaved people. They don't just enslave you because they want you to work and bring money in for them for free, like free labor. That is like a symptom of it. They want to destroy you completely. They kill the men, or a good portion of the men, or the strongest of the men, the one with the good genes, the very tall ones, the very strong ones, the heavy set ones. Those are the ones that they want to get rid of. They don't want those ones to reproduce. That's first and foremost. They keep the women and they breed with your women. And then they make the children of those women like second-class citizens. So they interbreed with you. They mix DNA. And on top of it, it's like everything that they do to strip you. They strip you of your religion. They strip you of your language. You must speak their language now. So every time they enslave a country, they want you to speak Portuguese. They want you to speak Spanish. They want you to speak French. They strip you of the language, and then they give you their religion. Why do you think they go to war over these religions? So now you have Protestant versus what other sect of Catholicism? Do you think they're just doing this for no reason? Do you think it's just because people want to say like it's my way or the highway? Do you think it's worthy of the cost of war to go to war over a religious belief? It is because of a spiritual relationship. It is gatekeeping, it's spiritual gatekeeping, it's power and control. They know. You look at the best readers. What do they look like? What do they look like? They know that in order to keep us under control, they have to feed us toxicity. They feed you the overt sexualism. And this is regardless of race now. We're talking on a human level. Everything is more and more sexual on your TV screen or your phone screen. Everything is, it's like you're gonna actually read a story by a scientist that says avocados are not good for you, grapefruits cause cancer. Listen to these stories, listen to these studies, take a step back. What is in the grapefruit that they don't want you to eat it? What is in the avocado that they don't want you to eat it? That they would make up a study and tell you, but then they're gonna tell you that milk from a cow is needed for blah, blah, blah. You gotta use this thing here. It was given to you. Turn it on. Turn this thing on. They get you to a point where they could tell you black is white and white is black. The sky has fallen. We can go catch a piece of the sun and we could put it in our house. They tell you nonsense and you buy into it because they've gotten you to a place where you continue to rely on them for everything. You do not need a church and you do not need a religion. It's inside of you. The messages are inside of you. You just have to quiet yourself. You have to welcome the help. You have to welcome the assistance. I went through gang stalking alone so I could come back and tell you that you actually don't need a lot. You just need somebody to tell you to trust yourself. And then once you start trusting yourself, you actually don't need anything else. They kept thinking it was the tarot, the tarot, the tarot. Tarot is either going to confirm something I'm already thinking or make me see that the tarot reader is fake. Because even if the tarot reader comes and tells me that something I'm doing is not the thing I'm supposed to be doing, even if the tarot reader says that, it doesn't change the truth that I know, because you know truth is a feeling. You know what that feels like. They strip you of your language. So you don't even know your language. Why is language important? Because language communicates feelings. Why is feelings important? Because feelings is how you communicate with spirit. Spirit does not use words. Spirit uses feelings. And this is a language that you must learn to speak. So let's bring it back. There are things in your language that mean things that other languages do not have words for. So maybe your language is communicating spirituality and they don't want you to have that language. You can have their language. Then they turn around and they steal the rituals, the customs, and the cultures. But our gods don't want to work with these people. They don't. It doesn't matter what they say. That's why you can take a gift but not be able to actualize it, it's like a fingerprint lock. You put your finger on it and nothing happens because it wasn't for you. Those are not your people. So there's been this huge insistence on who do I pray to? Don't worry about it. Even if you knew who I prayed to, they're not gonna work with you. There was this whole thing, this reading was talking about they're cooking for your ancestors and putting it on altars. So you're gonna light up an altar in your house for my ancestors in your house, and now you wonder why your house is upside down? Huh? You lit an altar for my ancestors in your house. You activated them on the inside of your house, whether that is literally in your home or metaphorically speaking. You started an altar for my ancestors, thinking that you can outrank me on my birthright. The people defending me, you thought this was a human thing where you could go to my ex and convince him that I'm this and I'm that. You could go to a friend or even a family member, human beings, when this shit is on, if is off. You could go talk to them about me and they would believe, but you thought you could do that with an ancestor. And I'm telling you what I intuitively feel. I feel like when they see the chaos in their life, because the altar is lit and the altar is working against them. You're feeding something that's working against them. And when they tapped into that, they try to turn the altar off. And just like that thing that I posted yesterday in the community section of my blog, of my YouTube, you can't just turn altars off. So this is how constantly we find ourselves in between a rock and a hard place. I have a feeling that somebody was praying to something and now wants to get away with it. Now wants to put it away, fold it up, burn it, and throw it across the railroad tracks and pretend it didn't happen, and it doesn't work that way. It's already in here. The portal is already open. And so they can't get rid of it. And you can't turn off an altar. So now what do you do? Now what do you do? I remember when I was meditating, I used to pray and I used to say, guys, like, meditation is sacred. This guy is like tapping into my meditations. Like, it's not, please give me some privacy. And they did not grant that wish. And he would come and he would listen and he would see, because he was interested in, why is she so protected? And so I'm doing the meditation, and you know, I got to do my meditation regardless. It's not going to stop just because someone's tapping in. So I'm like, fine. Grudgingly, I'm like, fine. And anyway, so he saw the connection, the spiritual connection, and that's how he trapped himself. He said, oh, so she has an energy with her, so I need an energy with me. So he went and bought it. This is my ascension. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what's happening for me. And this energy has always been here. It's not an energy that I went and called on. It's always been here my entire life. I can give story on top of story on top of story on top of story. This energy has always been here. So then he went and bought an energy and trapped himself. This is how being greedy and jealous and envious lands you all the time into your own demise. So you cannot blame anybody, because nobody told you strap that demon to your back with your blood. Nobody told you to do that. And to strap it on you while you're already in somebody's essence that you shouldn't even have been. You got too creative. Nigerians call that over sabi. Sabi means knowing. Sabi is like smart. You're overdoing it. Now you're outsmarting yourself. Having your own language is important. My ex used to be really big on me learning Portuguese, and it's cute. It's not my language. I have a language. That one is not mine. I consider that to be a European language. And so I don't like to tap into anything that is not mine. Now, do I have a problem with Portuguese people? No. No, I don't. I'm just not one of those people that will say, because I don't see these people as superior to me for me to have a problem with them. Do I have a problem with Caucasians? No. They could never stand in my way. They can never take my destiny from me. They cannot. So I don't have to worry about the history, the slave history, and say, oh, they rigged the system. Everything's rigged. That's just life. But no person, people, institution, government, religion can stand in my way, because I am in control. I am in control. That's why I don't have to have a problem with them. It's like you're giving people a little bit too much power when you start saying, oh, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. It's not that deep. And it's never been. You know, this morning what I was thinking about, and I was thinking about, like, why am I like this? It's very confusing, I think, for people when people met me, how kind and ultra feminine I am. And then they meet this resistance from me. They meet this strength at the same time. Because we tend to tie femininity to weakness and to always needing help and needing to be defended and all of that. I grew up with all boys. My grandmother, first of all, had 9 sons to 3 daughters, all boys. And then those 9 sons turned around and had all boys again. So it is a very male dominated family, a lot of boys. And growing up with boys, first of all, you're a second class citizen as a girl. They don't want you there. They don't want to play with you. Now, normally what would happen is if there were enough girls in the area, we would have been segregated. I would have been off with the girls. Or that's what, especially growing up with old people, it's a mentality. I would have been with the girls. But there's nobody else to play with. I have to play with the boys. And at that age, they're not really worrying about boys touching you or anything sexual because we're not there yet. This happens like 10, 11. I'm talking about younger than that. They don't want me there. They don't want to sit next to me. Nobody wants to play with me. It's like they're doing it because they've been bullied to do it. Because my aunt said you have to play with her. You have to let her play. She needs a turn. Give her a turn. So they let me play, and they're just there like this. And they're waiting, and as soon as I die, they snatch it out of my hands, the controller, and then they're like, okay. And their turn lasts like an hour and a half, and I was on it for 15 seconds. So if I want to play, I got to learn how to play. Who am I going to go to complain to? It's frowned upon for me to go to our parents, my grandparents, whoever, and say they won't let me play. It's frowned upon. I gotta just learn how to play and play well to extend my time. Otherwise, I'm just sitting there watching other people play. I gotta teach myself how to ride a bike. Because if I learn how to just ride and I'm like a little bit bumping into people and all of that, they're gonna take off. They're gonna leave me. They don't wanna play with me anyways. They're being forced. And these are not boys too. The area that I grew up in, it's not just boys from other families. I'm related to them. They're my cousins. They're definitely not attracted to me. They're bullies. The way boy culture is everybody's always fighting for the alpha male position at all times. They're always measuring themselves. They can't just walk. If we just walk, somebody's going to try to walk faster. Now it's a walking competition. If we're running, somebody wants to be the fastest one. If we're doing whatever we're doing, somebody wants to be stronger and faster. So there's always aggressive competition at all times growing up with boys, and they're rough. You got to be alert. They bully the weak one. They don't make accommodations for you. So if we go somewhere, we go exploring more or less, I'm gonna sit there in a circle of 5 people, and all 4 of them are gonna look at each other, and they're gonna bolt, and they're gonna leave me in the bush by myself. They're gonna sit there, they're gonna throw stones at a cow, and cows are misleading. They're very big and they're very fast. They're gonna throw rocks at the cow, provoke the cow, and they're gonna run and leave me. What can I do in that moment but run? What can I do in that moment but save myself? There's nobody coming to help me. I'm too far away from adults, from anything. This is how I grew up. I grew up with a bunch of a-holes. And everything is a competition. And you know what? It just made me faster than them. I was always one of the fastest ones. I was always one of the smartest ones. And I always had to be very alert being around these people. Because at any point in time, they're setting me up. Because they don't want to play with me. They were forced to take me with them. And now that I'm with them, they want to get rid of me. They want to go somewhere and play somewhere else. So if I want to play with them, I have to be able to walk things off. If I fall and I sprain my knee or I scratch it open, I can't cry. I gotta walk it off. The rest of the day, a couple hours, we're far away from home. That's all they do. Nobody wants to play in the area. They want to go explore. They want to go do. Boys put themselves in danger every single day with stupidity. Every day I'm standing there and I'm like, somebody's gonna drown. And that's what they do. And you know what we were doing? We're climbing trees that we know we're not supposed to be climbing, because if we fall from there, we might not even get back up. We might break something. And how do you get respect in those environments? I was afraid of heights. I got that out of my system early. I've been stuck in trees. They will leave you in the tree and go eat lunch until somebody's asking, where are you? They have to come search for you and find you in the top of a tree. These boys are a-holes. These are family, blood relations too. Blood relations. So you can understand, having grown up in these kind of environments, I can be a woman, I can be myself, I can be quiet, but I'm also, I'm groomed to not complain. I'm groomed to just accept reality as it is. And when they do all of that, you think I could come back and I could be like, oh, they did this and they did that. I still want to get up and go play with them tomorrow. Not because I necessarily want to play with them, because who else am I going to play with? I'm a kid. And you miss one day outside, you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening the day after. Any day you're sick, you're in the window, everybody knows, anybody who grew up in an area with a lot of kids, you know what I'm talking about. You're in the window, you don't know what episode of Power Rangers they're reenacting now, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know what's changed, and you're coming back and you feel like you're out of the loop. It feels one day not being outside feels like a lot. So it's like, if I had the potential of being a 90% average student, I was an 80% average student, because I just wanted to be outside in the mix. I know how to throw very well. I know how to catch very well. I'm very endurant. I'm very good at sports. I'm good at cross country. I'm good at running. I'm good at track. I've won medals and trophies for soccer. I have an uncle that played soccer. My grandmother's youngest son grew up under his wing. I can sit in these environments that people, I don't need to sit on a panel and complain about anything, because I always accept that life is hard from day one. That is why people are never going to find me in a situation where I'm going to come on here and cry about being gang stalked. And was it brutal? Of course it was brutal. But it just seems to me that that's just life, because my target is my target and my focus is my focus. So it's like, when you grow up with little boys, you just grow up as a soldier. That's what it is. You have a soldier mentality. You got to walk shit off. You don't even know the amount of scars I have on me from growing up in a tropical place where I'm putting my life in danger to be able to still play with my family. And I can't go home and say, these a-holes got me in a situation where a cow was chasing me for 30 minutes and they left me. Because if I do that, they're definitely not playing with me tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that. And I could come to puberty and they still don't like me. So I'm still never, it's like, maybe the boys in the area that we weren't related to might look at you as a girl. But because I grew up with them, they still never looked at me as a girl. Even the ones that I wasn't related to, because it's like they've been trying to kill me for my entire, and that's really what people try to do with their siblings. That's what kids try to do. They low key, they really don't like you. I'm used to this. So I thrive in these environments. When things are easy, I feel like, wow, I can't believe I just pressed the button that said start and it works. I'm used to it. I'm used to finding a workaround. I'm used to people bullying me. I'm used to somebody proving that they're better than me. Even getting to, like, with girls, with women, and I really started female friendships like late in my life, but like, it's the same thing. It's all this catty energy. Actually, women are tougher for me than men, because it's psychological, and it's like, it's draining for no reason. There is no reason why women are always upset, and there's always something going on. It's like a different, it's easier for me to be around guys. It's more peaceful. But I'm used to this. It's always chaos. Somebody always wants something. Somebody always wants to take something from you. Half the time I was only invited places because my parents had the resources to buy me nicer things. So If they had normal bikes with the handbrakes, I had the back pedal brake bike. They just wanted my bike, and it was name brand. It was BMW. It was a lighter bike. I had the matching helmet, the this and that. If they wanted something, they would convince me to ask my parents for it, so that once it came, it's like they could use it. Oh, we should get this game console. We should do this. We should do that. It wasn't because they really wanted me there. So being in environments where people are truly trying to use me for something is something that I've already learned how to make work to my advantage. I am not stupid. It just is what it is. What is the point? So people throughout being gang stalked have always been waiting to try to analyze me. Like, what does she know? What does she do? Who cares what I know? We only care what we're getting out of this thing. What are we getting out of this thing? What is the end result of all of this? I've been groomed for this kind of thing. If you're going through gang stalking and you've never faced a ton of opposition in your life, welcome. Just get used to it and just keep walking through it. Like I said, there are bombs over Baghdad. You think there's commercial flights leaving so you could get on one and get out of there? You got to learn how to survive. You got to just learn how to survive. You got to learn how to thrive. When you're tired, when you're past the point of being tired and you're running on fumes and you still got to get up tomorrow and go do what you got to do, this is the world of gang stalking. There are no friends here. There are no real friends. You're just negotiating with snakes. You're shaking hands with people that you know would slit your throat for free because they don't like you. This is the world that you're being prepared to live in, because these people are gang stalking you for a reason. There is something that you have that they want, and they would do anything to have it. And they're also supposed to be relinquishing their seats of power, and they don't want to do that. They don't actually want to get off the pot. They've been in control for a while. Don't you see this is global? This is not just you being gang stalked. Look at COVID. Everybody who had to wake up started waking up during COVID. The seats of power is shifting. That's why they don't want these couples to come together, because they know how it goes, and it's gonna happen either way. You're being gang stalked here because you're on a Christ walk, and you are the Christ. You are the Christ on this walk. Nothing is ever going back to normal, so divorce that idea immediately right now. You are being taught how to survive in a new world where people are going to continue to try to take from you what is yours. So you're going to have to learn how to defend things, how to build things, and how to defend things. You're not the first, you're not going to be the last. This is how empires are built. People don't just come out of slavery, they break out of slavery. Nobody, no people ever broke out of slavery by themselves. There was always ancestral help. Whether it's the Jews in Egypt, whether it's the Jews that broke out of Egypt. Look at the journey out of Egypt. Let's talk about it. I was listening to TD Jakes tell me about it. Look at the journey out of Egypt, what that looked like. You're a slave in Egypt, but at least you had food. You may have had scraps as meat, but at least you had meat in Egypt. They take you out. You have to walk the whole way, no shoes. You're walking through, they're parting the sea for you to go through, and you're walking through. And when you get to the other side, you're in a desert, and you got to walk through the desert. Do you know what manna is? When Jews talk about unleavened bread is like dough that I would scrap. I would throw it away. Any baker does not want the dough with the yeast that won't rise. It's crispy, it's hard, but they eat it on their holidays, on Passover. They eat it, symbolically representing what God provided at the time when it was barren. There was no food. They needed food, and God sent manna. You got to be grateful during your Christ walk for the little that you have. You got to be grateful. We do not take money from the enemy. We don't take deals. We don't take influencer partnerships from the enemy just because right now we're in a period of waiting. And that's what you're in. You're in a period of waiting because you're not going to the promised land to be waiting on anybody else. You're going to have your own economy, your own monarchy, your own kings, your own everything. We do not take money from people just to say something is working. That's what the tarot readers did. The tarot readers got pulled from the old world, pulled from their job, and they're in a period of waiting, and the waiting is long. We're now 4 years in that they're still waiting, and they're seeing how much people are willing to pay for a tarot reading. So now some of them have shaken hands, forfeited their birthright, and shaken hands with these people to pass on messages. And now these people are persecuting them night and day, and they have no effing protection. So now you know what tarot reader is under attack, laden with crystals, and the sage has to be burning like this. Like me, when I have people in my energy, they're under attack. No protection. Those are not your people. That's why you're suffering over there with them. You are now a slave. So when they tell you to get up and do a reading, and this is the storyline for the reading, you got to do it. You're going to be attacked either way, but you want to be attacked with a shield, with a cloak, with protection. Let me show you the shield card in one of my decks. Which one is it? Might be this one. Nope. No, I don't think this is the deck. People have sold themselves, and they think, and it's just their portion of the inheritance that they forfeited because they didn't have the patience to wait. The patience to wait for what was promised to them. I'm going to find this card. This is another card I like in this deck. It's the Serpentine Path to Power. Do you see the serpent whispering in her ear? That's who they call Lilith. That's who they call Mother. That's who they banished. That's who they made. They made it illegal to love her. They made it immoral to love her, and they called her the devil. And she's the one that's here protecting and guiding and telling you, that's a snake. That's not your friend. Come out of this situation. They're lying to you. Don't trust them. That's the one that said you don't need to be naked in the garden. Go put some clothes on. You do not need to sleep with Adam. You don't need to be underneath him. And you don't need to do any of this stuff that they're telling you to do. You don't have to be scared of anybody. That's the serpent. This is my card, a loyal guardian. It says a magical protector is there for you. And we don't have to do voodoo and all of that to have that. The protection is built in because you are a part of the promised land. When they say the new heaven and the new earth, it is eclipsing outside. Do you see the sun is blocked? Do you see what's happening out there? When the hour comes, the hour comes. The 4 deadly horsemen have been in their camp for the entire year last year. And now it's our time. And we're taking back what is ours. What they tried to steal, but was always protected. And the only thing that can have you forfeit this is yourself, your weakness, and your greed. You gotta sit down because we need soldiers. You remember Wakanda? They always had a problem with Wakanda. Look at the movie Wakanda. They always had a problem. Spanish people have a problem with black people, and it's deep. It's deep. It's serious. It's deep. It's deep. And I was watching Wakanda, and I was like, yeah, they have an issue with us personally. They have a personal issue. What is it? There's probably history to this stuff that we don't know about. I'm not going to lie. In Wakanda, they were beating our behind, though. They were beating our ass in Wakanda, didn't they? Black people are traitors, disloyal in the heart. They're built like that, and it is what it is. I'm not saying all people are like that, but we have an issue with unity and loyalty like we do. It's ingrained. What this is here is this is loyalty. These are relationships with ancestors, spirit ancestors, with deities, with gods. but these are spiritual relationships that are not just built on transaction. I still listen to, whenever I hear, today I was listening to a bit about root work, and they were talking about you got to give to get. You put some pennies on the altar, you do this, you do that. I'm going to do that anyway, regardless of what they give me. It is not a transaction. I'm going to do that anyway. Whether I get anything back or not, whether I'm requesting anything or not, I'm going to do it anyway. It is love. Do you sit in a house with your family and you don't feed your elders? You don't give them a plate of food, you sit there and you eat? So are you giving them a plate of food so that they could do something for you, or does everybody have to eat? It's that simple. That's just how it works. So I don't know. I'm going to learn, but they're going to be given offerings regardless. That's how I see it. That's how it works. The other day I was eating and I was going to make like proper food later, and my spirit bothered me like, you're just going to eat? And I'm like, and I brushed it off again. I'm like, I'm going to do it later. And it's like I had to get up and put that offering on there. I had to share it out of my bowl. And I realized, oh, the extra gravy that was left over in the pot, that's what it's for. And the extra pieces of meat, that's what it's for. And it's this is how they teach you how you live with them, because you're going to be living with them. What did God do? Or what did Christ do? The story of Christ, that people like this Jesus story a lot. What did Jesus do? Jesus died. People say that Jesus died on the cross for humanity, perhaps. But this is how I see it. Jesus sacrificed himself for a cause. Jesus sacrificed himself, endured pain, endured humiliation, endured struggle for something else that was greater than him. As soon as my ascension started, as soon as I got tapped in, my first thing was like, I would die for you. I would. That's the loyalty that we're talking about. And it's not to say that they want me to, but if it ever boiled down to it, if it ever boiled down to backing down or dying, I'm ready to go at any time. That's the difference. That's how strong it is. So you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give? You guys are worried about, people are always worried about sacrificing this and that on an altar. I give my vessel, I give my heart, I give my loyalty, I give respect. And what I mean by loyalty is your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. So I tell God all the time, I'm like, listen, you know it's only because of you I'm doing this. And I'm not even talking about enduring the gang stalking, because people have no loyalty whatsoever. That's what gang stalking taught me. I looked at people and I was like, wow, you people have a zero loyalty. You want to talk about what's valuable on this planet. You want to know people that they really want. They want loyal people. On that, there's no loyalty on that camp. That camp is built on pay for play. It's a payroll. If they don't pay, nobody rolls. That's it. God knows and God needs, and you want this protection, you want this promised land, you want this house. This is about loyalty. So this is about, you have to roll when there's no pay. You have to get up and do what you got to do and stay focused when we haven't completed everything yet. When you're in the middle of it, when you're seeing no results. It is a relationship built on, what's the word I'm looking for? On loyalty and on love and on commitment. When you're guided to do things that you don't want to do, when you're guided to do things that defy logic and reason, you're doing so because you need to commit to something that is bigger than you. And so if I have to spend a lifetime fighting spiritually without seeing any results, then that's what is needed. Do you know what it feels like on the other side when you know that you at least have one person that's gonna do what they're supposed to do. We got one person we can depend on. We have one reader that's gonna come online even though they just attacked her last night. That's Jasmine. That's Goddess Guidance, because she was fucking needed. She was needed. I had to wake up. The ascension needed to be completed. Pivotal steps needed to be crossed. And she was willing to get up despite the loss to her business. When people are playing around in your stuff, you need to remain focused. When they're playing on your money, trying to distract you, you need to remain focused. We're walking through where we don't know. Who knew where the promised land was? Who knew? You're just walking around in a desert following a madman. That's what it takes. And I always say it takes what it takes and it costs what it costs. You don't have to take a house from me. I'll go sell it. Happiness, I'm happy all the time. This happiness is inside. I'm happy all the time. So if people think they're going to take my happiness by taking a man or taking this or taking that, I will be a bum on the street and I will still have contentment in my heart. You cannot take that from me. And that's how you have to be. You have to find your contentment inside so that no one can take it from you and confuse you. People are not investing this type of money to gang stalk you for no reason. Where is your money? Where are your millions that they're gang stalking you for? It's spiritual. It hasn't manifested yet. So you have to wait. We don't know where we're going. We're just following instruction. One foot in front of the other. When you're told this is what you have to do and it logically doesn't make sense. Somebody came on my YouTube and they said, if you don't forgive, you're gonna go to hell. I'm in hell all the time. What? What? Where do you think Kali is? Where do you think Lilith is? What do you mean? We're in hell all the time. That's where my ancestors are. Half of them are. Anyway, all the time. It didn't seem that bad to me, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I'm really supposed to be saying that or not. But it is what it is. What do you mean I'm gonna go to hell? If I'm down there with them, then that means I'm in hell on earth. I'm being gang stalked. I'm still eating. I'm still breathing. I'm still walking. I'm fine. I'm good. Don't let people confuse you and talk you out of your position. Because you know what they're trying to do to you right now? You're in line to get married into your new life with your new beautiful bride. And they're telling you she's this and she's that and she's this and she's that. And behind your back, they're trying to marry her. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to talk you out of what is supposed to be yours, what would make you happy, what would make you fulfilled. And while they're telling you, look away, she's ugly, she's a virgin, she doesn't know what she's doing in bed, etc., etc., they're over there negotiating to take her on. The same John Ferreira that's telling my ex that I'm no good and I'm this and that, and they're laughing at him thinking how they played this man. You gotta have sunglasses on for you to not see value in someone like me. Or you gotta be playing along or something else, or spell work or something. I don't know either one. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It doesn't matter because I know they use spell work on people. I know that they do. But they're trying to get with me. Now they're trying to send everybody to get with me that's in their world. And if I meet a guy who's not in that whole, they come in and they squash it immediately. They tell the guy things about me, whatever. It's like the guy meets me one day, everything's nice. The next day he doesn't want to talk to you. He's not accepting of the text. It is what it is. They did me a favor in doing that though. Thank you guys for squashing all relationship opportunities that came my way. I wasn't supposed to be there. That's the point. Thank you. This is how God continues to use them to make sure that we stand in place and we do not forfeit our inheritance because we don't know what's going on. So I want to thank John Ferrer and the committee for keeping me celibate for now going on 3 years. I appreciate it. My future husband thanks you as well. You dumbass. Bye. Anyway, you got to hold on in any condition, any kind of condition that comes your way. It is what it is. It costs what it costs. It's costed me a lot. I regret nothing. I regret nothing. It costs what it costs. It is what it is. I want what was taken back from me, and I don't care. And the way the energy is coming back is I don't care what is in the way to get to it. So you might not want to be in the way. And, you know, I'm sure they don't like when I talk like this. They're like, don't talk like that. People are going to think you're a monster. They stole something. And they stole from a ton of people. It's like this drug game focuses a lot on just black people, don't you think? They micro-focus on just black people. You'd have to wonder why. Where are we? Loyalty. These relationships, these spiritual relationships are built on loyalty. They are not built on you seeing what you're working for right now. It is a relationship based on loyalty. God comes in if you don't know what to pray for and tells you, pray for this, ask for that. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do this. You know when people don't have ancestors when they make stupid mistakes. These people do not have ancestors because ancestors would have told you not to do this. Imagine God telling you, I'm not taking this prayer, you need to ask for more. This is relationships built on love. So these are relationships that you can trust. So no one can tell me that I worship the devil because the devil does not behave like this. But if I am worshiping the devil, then I am going to be a devil worshiper before I stop worshiping who I worship. Because I'm comfortable here. I'm happy here. I'm taken care of here. I'm protected here. I'm secure here. What do I look like letting anybody talk me out of my protection? And now that my protection is getting retribution, what do I look like calling them down? Even if I did, they wouldn't listen anyway, because this is not a transactional relationship. That's how it works. This is not a transactional relationship. I do not work for them. They do not work for me. This is family. This is family. You think my children can convince me that they're not going to brush their teeth because they did it yesterday? No, I do what is necessary, what is right, whether or not they like it or not. And as much as I know it bothers them right now, I know whether or not they see why I've done it. It doesn't even matter. It just matters that I'm not going to let anything interfere with their future, interfere with what I have for them, what they're supposed to get. That's how these relationships work. These are ancestral relationships. You are not going to call deities that you found somewhere on TikTok or in a group or in a book. These energies find you. They come to you. They introduce themselves with warmth as you allow. And then you accept and embrace the energy, and they fight with and for you, and everything comes from the inside. People are banging. Demonic energies are banging at the door trying to possess you, and it cannot happen because this seat is occupied. Now you're going to know who to trust. You're going to know what deals to take. You're going to know how to open your new beginning because they will find it for you. They are unrelenting. They will not stop until you get on the path you're supposed to get on. And you know when they're happy and you know when they're pissed. You feel it. This is how it works. This is the walk that you're on. You're on an ancestral walk. Everything from the inside. So you do not need to worry about. They reject what is not for you. They reject it. And how do you know if it's an ancestor? All of you guys being gang stalked, you feel the energy, you feel the twitches, you feel the ticks on different sides of your body. When it's on the right side of your body, it is ancestral. When it's on the left side, That's people doing work on you. That is how you know. And I've seen it before because people have taken videos. You're talking about energy work, but we are not talking about energy work here. We're talking about spiritual. And this is how it manifests on you. You have spiritual gifts that you haven't tapped into yet. You're being persecuted so you don't step into it. When you step into it, you are their worst nightmare. Their worst nightmare was for me to be so tapped in and so protected, and now to learn how to do all the things that they could do, spell work, root work, and all of that, because I could do the work and not have the backfires because I'm protected. And because they deserve it. And because they deserve it. And these are not things that you should be just doing willy-nilly. These are things that you should be indoctrinated into. These are things that should be handled with respect. This is the number one thing that I've noticed from day one, that people have no respect for the spirit realm. It has now been commoditized. It is like putting money in a slot machine. Do you think spirits are just here so you could pretend to be a god in flesh? So you could pop money in, so you could bully them around? Do you not see how the energy's coming back around? Do you not see who they're picking up? They're picking up little kids and giving gifts. They're snatching gifts from that side and putting them back where they should be. Open yourself up to this ascension, because it's not going to stop. They want to get rid of you. You have no choice. You have no choice. You got to do your spiritual baths. You got to clean your energy. You got to take... You're being given for free what people have fought to gatekeep. Information that people fight to gatekeep, you're getting it for free. And you have the spiritual protection, and you have the spiritual ranking, and you have the backing of the spiritual world on top of it. You got to open yourself up. Start with the meditations. The prayer is like a grocery list. There's two. You open up with respect in your prayer. Good morning, good evening, and then you go into thanks first, because there's a lot to be grateful for. Thank you, I'm not in a wheelchair today. Thank you that I am not sick. Thank you that they haven't taken over my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because what you're going through would have killed another person already. People with protection they can't withstand this. They develop this because they know you have spiritual gifts and natural protection. Protection from the outside is different from protection on the inside. It is two different kinds of interactions with the spirit world. You can be possessed when your protection is not inside. You got to invite the Holy Spirit in. You got to invite the Holy Spirit in, and not just any spirit. You will know, because it comes in the energy of love. Love so overwhelming you will cry for weeks like, I'm not even deserving of this. That's how it comes. Lower entities cannot do that because they cannot vibrate like that. That's how you know. Simple. You will know when you know. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what your ancestors look like. You think I didn't feel self-conscious? I'm like, if I tell people that this is who my mother is, like, they're gonna say I'm praying to the devil. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Over there, you should see what you look like. If you knew what you look like astrally, you wouldn't even worry about that. You look worse. You do look like a monster. You know, amongst other things, probably, who knows? I definitely look scary over there sometimes. It is what it is. That's not the point. The point is, you start your prayer first with a proper introduction. How would you greet an elder in your face? How would you greet a grandparent? Now, North Americans tend not to have respect for their elders. That is not the world that I come from. The world that I come from, our elders are like gods. So we respect them. No matter what age you are, you respect them, and we take care of them. It's a position that they have earned. So you start your prayer with respect. You greet, you bow, and then you launch into thanks, appreciation for all that has been done for you in this day from the last time you guys spoke. And then you use your prayer as a little laundry list. These are the things that I need. The things that you need are not always physical, especially in this battle. You don't need a new coat. You don't need Gucci. You don't need Louis Vuitton. You need strength. You need faith. You need hope. Sometimes you may say, can I see what is going on? Can you show me proof that it's working? Why? Because it boosts your confidence in your prayers. So now you can see what's going on. Oh, it's working. Thank you. Sometimes they'll just give it to you freely without you asking for it. To give you faith, to give you hope, to keep going. That's the point. And when you're done asking for what you need, you know my prayers, I'll tell you. I ask for strength. I ask for hope. I ask for focus. I ask for discipline. I ask for things that money cannot buy. And I give them the energy with my praise, with my thankfulness is how I boost them up, giving them the energy that they give back to me. You're not giving to receive. It's the infinity symbol that never ends. As energies push this way, we can push it back. And this is how it goes. We need to take away the transactional portion of how we think this works. So if I put food on the altar, I'm going to get something back. That's how you think about it. But no. You got to put food on the altar anytime so that you stop thinking if I don't need something, I don't put food on the altar. We eat. We all eat. We stay alive. We stay strong. Always. You need food either way. It's the same thing. How can you eat and the altar is bare? Sometimes I forget to eat, but the altar is forcing me to go make something because I got to make sure they eat. I'm not hungry. What does it have to do with them? You keep the altar lit up like a Christmas tree, alive, always a fire, always a flame, always some water beside you. Right now, I'm on live, and it's not very big, but here's a little tea light, a little candle. It is close. Here's some water that's sitting beside me. It's not a lot, and it doesn't have to be very fancy and ceremonial. It's just keeping up these traditions, keeping these things up. In the beginning, you don't even know why you're doing it. One day you will understand why. I've always been very prone to celibacy, being honest. It's like I don't even, not every year. It's crazy. There's people that just get on an app and they meet somebody and they're like, I'm gonna sleep with this person. I don't really have relations every year. There's some full on freaking years that there's nothing. And this is like a regular in my life, like just how I live from the moment that I became a woman, period. And it was like, sometimes I'd be like, why am I like that? Because it's like so different. I wouldn't be able to tell people, like, actually I told somebody and they laughed. And one time it was a joke and I said, I haven't even like the whole year, and they laughed and they're like, don't worry, it's not for this year. Next year, try again. And I sat there, I remember when they said that, I sat in the chair and I was like, God, please let next year be a year, because like this is crazy. But this is life. And I realize now why it's important to be like that. I didn't make a decision to be like that. I just am like that. I've just always been in control of my sexual desire. I could turn it on and off like a switch. If I could feel turned on right now and then you say the wrong thing and I'm like, no, turning it off, bye. I'm in like crazy control of it. I don't care. So it's like, it's not a need. It's not a need. I see it as something that is important to be shared, but it's not a need. So it's like, but now I see why. Because these people will use that sexuality against you. It's a weakness and it's a door that they use to open. So now that you understand how you keep yourself safe sexually, spiritually, the significance of you just sleeping around and all the energies on other people, inheriting their karma, letting them have access to your energy, your abundance, those plans that you had to build this business or to build this thing. I sleep with you and now everything drops out of you and I gain it. Now you see how it works. You start protecting yourself sexually. And then now you start realizing why they have our culture so oversexed, so oversexual. Everything. They try to put this energy in us because that's how you're giving away your energy, you're giving away your essence, you're giving away your manifestation power, you're giving away spiritual currency through sex. Celibacy is power. Keep that energy for yourself. Or when you get into a union that God has put together for you, not that you put together for yourself, that God has predetermined that this is something for you. These are all traditions that we've stepped away from, and that these are things that we got to get back to if we want to maintain our power. And I promise you that people in power are not just leaving it to their children to decide who they're going to be with. They're pre-negotiating and pre-working these things out between families, guaranteed. After everything that I've been through, you can't convince me that just anything goes. You can't convince me of that. And it's not even about race. Don't let what I'm saying here talk about race, because they gang stalk everybody. You know, I was going through things spiritually and I realized that other people were going through it, and it wasn't even black people. So this is not about race. This is just about people, because these are just vessels. This is just skin. Oh, that these people are this and that people are that. Like, whatever. It's boring. We got to let it go. Race is the divisive, another divisive tactic that they use to get people to not see what's going on. Because if there are 10 people in a room and I'm one and I'm the trickster, the quickest way is to start dividing all of them. Okay, so there's 3 Muslims, 3 Jews, 3 okay, so now it's like 3 different ones. And instead of them fighting me, let's get them to fight themselves while I hop around and I go steal everything. I change everything. I go to that group and cause chaos, that group and cause chaos, that group and cause chaos. And nobody's the wiser as I'm just running amok doing whatever I want to do. So this race thing, it's tired, it's dead. Let it go. It is what it is. I don't care. It's not about race. There are a lot of people who are different races, and they're on the same thing. They're being gang stalked. They're going through the same thing. It is not about that. You need to start seeing humanity in people, irregardless of what they look like. That's the first thing. And you need to start seeing demons for who they are. They smile. They're fake. They love bomb. And you do not know a demon until you see a gang stalker switch faces in your face. Oh my God, I love everything about you. 2 seconds later. And weren't you raped the other day? Weren't you raped the other day? That's how they switch fast. They switch fast. That's not an entity to you. That's not something that's possessed. That's not something that has something else driving their vehicle. When I tell you let the Holy Spirit in, you might think I'm encouraging you to let outside energy into your body, but they're going to take a hold of you with domination anyway, whether you say that you agree to it or not. They're going to take a hold of your vessel anyway. They're going to possess you with something anyway. Why do you think they keep trying to repeat the same thing over and over? They're going to try to repeat sending the same dirty energy towards you at night in your sleep when you're vulnerable over and over. So why do I tell people about the crystals? Sleeping with the crystals. Right now I'm talking to you on camera. I don't know who's looking at me, who's throwing energy at me. I gotta have crystals. And every time I get a crystal for something, I tell somebody, this is why you have it. You're not in this fight. You're not in this gang stalking thing. You're here to be trained. And the longer you're gang stalked, the less you give it, the less you care. Take it from me, the less you care. I walk around and I see gang stalkers in my environment all the time, and it makes no difference to me. Because what are they gonna do? When the spell is broken off of you, you don't feel gang stalked. You just feel like there's dumbasses outside trying to intimidate you. That's it. That's all that's happening without the spell work. Gang stalking without the spell work is different from with the spell work. They need the spell work. So what am I here to tell you? How to break the spell work. That's it. How to clean yourself so that it stops working. As soon as you just see an old man outside and you don't see a gang stalker, you don't give a shit. It becomes from a gang stalker to a gang watcher. What can they do? They followed me around and they saw what I was doing. And what are they gonna do with that information? They're just watching, they're intimidating you. It's an intimidation tactic. When you do not have the spell work working on top of you, making you get anxiety, it doesn't mean anything. You don't feel anything. You look at them, they look at you, and you go about your business. I look at them. I would suggest if you're in the beginning or the middle, don't look at them, because you might still have the working on you. What are they gonna do? You look at them and you walk past and you go home, or you do what you're supposed to do. I was at the bank and they hovered and they heard what I was doing. What are they gonna do? They want to learn what I'm doing to sabotage it, but they cannot do that. Not with me, not now, because I've broken out from under it. So everybody who comes and who makes these videos is giving you a little piece, a little different piece. The tarot readers, even, they give you a different version of the whole story, and you got to put all of it together. And a lot of pieces are going to come from internally. Internally, you're going to know, because they can't, you know, if God comes and gives a message to tarot reader online, then that means not just you know the message, but everybody else knows it as well, and they can react to it. So some things are just for you. Some things that you know inside of you are just for you and not for anyone else. So you take all the bits of information, but the information you get here on how to clean yourself and clear yourself is critical to closing this cycle. It is critical that you clean off this energy work. Do not for a second think that the government does not do spell work, that the corporations do not do spell work. They do the most. They are built on spell work. They're built on it. Spell work is not what you think. It's not as complicated as you think. It's not like a witch with a pointy hat stirring a cauldron. It's not that. Spell work is easy. You do spell work right now all the time, and you just don't know that you're doing it. You're doing it all the time. You just don't know that you're doing it. And at least that's what I've discovered anyway. The message here really is, are you willing to die on the cross to get what belongs to you back? Because if you're being gang stalked, they stole something, they stole it already. You got to get it back. Are you willing to die on the cross for what is yours? That's it. You're not going to ask for your freedom, because nobody's going to give you the money that they stole. Can I have the money back, please? Sure, here's the money back. That's not how it works. Can I have my house back? Sure. That's not how it works. You got to take it back. You got to take it back by brute force. Not if that's what it takes. That is what it takes, but it's spiritual. You got to take it back. And the last piece I'm going to leave you with, as far as taking it back, you do not need to learn how to do spell work right now. I didn't know how to do anything. I'm learning. This is my new journey when I get out of here. Well, I am out of it. I'm learning now. It's a new journey. I get scared when I ask for new journeys. Like in the middle of it, when I'm like, okay, I'm ready, I'm like, whoa. The last time I prayed this prayer, I got gang stalked. So I don't know, what does this entail exactly? I'm not gonna know, but either way, I have to be ready. It's just what it is. But all you gotta do is stand in place. Stand in place, and they'll figure it out. People are tying you up there spiritually, and God is untying it. And you just have to stand in place and not forfeit anything. Never give up. Never adhere to anything. Never take any deals. It is what it is. God will always provide. Always, 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 always. You will always be taken care of. It is a part of the plan. But there are some bumpy parts of this journey that are going to reduce you. And since people like the Bible so much, open the Bible and see how prophets have been persecuted. Before Joseph was a king, he was a prisoner. He was jailed until he met his brothers again. So this is the walk. This is how it works. And if I were to believe in and I definitely believe in the Bible, of course, but if I were to be Christian, it wouldn't just be the Jesus part of it. It would be the Old Testament that would interest me a lot more. Because a lot of these are examples, these are documented examples of the same walk that you're taking right now. And there was a verse, a biblical verse, and I can't remember it, and was like, you are a chosen people. That's really what it boils down to. You didn't choose it for yourself, so you have to call yourself chosen, because you would not have, you like your old life. We all did. It was comfortable enough. We knew what it was. We understood the parameters. Now we're out in a no man's land. We need answers. We don't know what's going on. Things are difficult. But you're not here to stay. Things will improve incrementally. I want to prepare you for that. This is how I am, and I ask God for this. If it's going to take 5 years, don't tell me in 6 months it's done, because I'm really going to think it's done and I'm going to let my guards down. Tell me it's going to take 5 years. And that's it. And that's all. It's okay. Now, there's a caveat with me saying that, because there was a point I was so tired of this journey. I don't just mean physically tired. I mean energetically, spiritually tired. I had prayed every prayer I could think of. I had done everything I could do. And so I had this much energy and there was this much journey left. So all I could do was offer this energy every day and say, this is how much I have. I'm giving you one more day, but the day I'm giving you is a full day with everything that I have. So I was giving this much, but I was giving it every day. And then I was asking for it to be replenished. Please replenish it. I know you can't give me this much. So take everything with a caveat, take it with a grain of salt, apply it to your situation. The only thing you have to do is never give up. That's all. That's all you have to do, is just never give up, endure it. You got to keep up with your routine. You got to keep praying. You got to make it easier on yourself spiritually. But eventually, after such a spiritual battle and abuse, it doesn't bother you as much. I sit and I read books while spell work is sent my way. I mean, so much spell work has been sent my way that I am immune to so much stuff. I cannot get anxiety anymore. And sometimes I want to get the anxiety attack, because the way the anxiety happens is you feel it coming. Your breath starts, like, you start breathing. Then that's when they take the opportunity to start whispering in your ear, oh, this is not going to work. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, da, da, da. Like, so you get the negative thoughts. And then it makes your stomach churn. You're like, oh my God, I got to use the washroom. I'm so nervous. But for me, how I experience this attack, I just feel it and then I want to use the washroom. All of the other stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't work. So it's like I would look forward to this in the middle of my spiritual attacks. I would look forward to it so I could keep regular. So every time it came, it was like, yes, I could use the washroom and have a flat stomach. I'm going to be in shape, because I knew I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't always eating. I was fasting a lot. So this was the only way for me to use the washroom. And when they stopped sending the attacks, I was irritated. I was like, damn. Like, days were going by and I'm like, wait, so they're just not going to send no more anxiety attacks? That's rude. So now if I get an anxiety attack, I know it's an anxiety attack that I'm being sent because I'm used to it, but it's not because it's manifesting as an anxiety attack. So what, and that is just one of the portions of spell work that I'm immune to that just simply doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I can recognize what it is by how it feels, but it has no effect. None at all. That's the point you want to wait to get to. You're training. You're under training. There's a video that somebody posted about, I'm going to repost a lot of this this one guy's videos so you can understand what you're going through. If I post a video on the community centers, because you're supposed to watch it. go watch the video. It takes an hour, 2 hours. Buy yourself a Bluetooth, like a earpiece or whatever, and listen to it. It's there for a reason. Nothing is not there for a reason. You gotta listen to it. He explains about how backfires work when you first start getting into like the spiritual realm. And he explains that you have to keep going. And it's taking away like the pain from you. And then he also talks about that's why warlocks, I would consider him a warlock. But that's why when you're dealing with spiritual people that send work, you gotta be endurant because they know that some of their shit is gonna backfire. They know that. They're prepared for the backfires. It's built in. That's why when it's backfiring, they don't stop. You're dealing with things that are trained for war. So if you're gonna be in war, you gotta be trained for war. You gotta be trained to withstand. My children get a lot of spell work. A lot. You gotta be built to withstand. Because you're dealing with people that as the work gets sent back, they're used to it. They're prepared for it. So you don't go to war to be at peace, to be in comfort. You're going out there to get your behind handed to you. Soldiers are not gonna be, nobody's gonna say, oh, leave that one. He just lost his leg yesterday. No, you're gonna get up and you're gonna get to the front line. That's how it works. Oh, let's give her a break because she's broke now. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's not about that. What you're fighting for is valuable enough that you gotta keep going no matter what it costs. And you know, for me, it's like growing up with boys, like I said. I might go home and cry about it, but I sure as hell am not gonna cry in front of them. And the thing is, I don't go home and cry about it because by the time I walk it off when I get home, I'm probably just gonna hide it from the people in my house that I hurt myself because they're gonna get mad and say that I can't go out anymore. And that's it. Tomorrow I'm gonna go out and risk my life again. That's it. That's how it works. You know, you get to a point, you stop bitching about it, you stop complaining about it. And now, do I get infuriated about it? Of course. Of course, it's irritating. But I'm at a place where I'm managing my rage. I'm managing that energy that comes towards me. Am I on this guy's neck? Yes. He knows it. He knows it. There's nothing he can do about it. Is he on my neck too? Sure, if that's what he thinks. He wastes a lot of energy that doesn't hit. Thank you for your energy, because I need it. I need it. I like it. You know, and that's the thing. And you need this energy. You're getting back the energy that people stole from you. You need that energy. You need that spell work that's coming your way. This is your energy. This is not your energy in the sense where, but it was stolen from you. So we're going to keep this energy and we're going to use these bricks that they're sending and we're going to get some cement and we're going to put some foundations together. So you need that, energetically speaking. But who's going to catch it for you? The Holy Spirit needs to be on the inside to catch those energetic bricks. Now people are wondering where'd their energy go? Where'd their money go? Where'd their connections go? Where'd their safe passage go? You forfeited it. You gave it away for free. So that's the message for today. Let me pull a spirit card. See what Mother has to say to us today. What is the message? What is the word of encouragement? What is the word of encouragement? These cards are, I'm not taking that. It's a weird card to come out. This is not like tarot. All the cards are encouraging cards, but I have to try to like take my energy off of cards because my energy is always in cards. Anyway, it's the same cards that come out. Be true to yourself in all ways. Not everyone will get you. They can only understand you from their level of perception, and that's on them. No matter what people say, don't ever doubt your worth or the beauty you hold within. Stand tall in your power. As you walk this path, and you talk spiritually, people are going to try to downgrade you and play you like you don't know what the heck you're talking about. Like, oh, what is that? And blah, blah, blah. What is this? And whatever. You know your fight, and you know what you feel on your body night and day. You know what you see when you walk out there. You know that people are following you. You know what's going on. Their next thing is probably going to be to rattle a bunch of Christians, and it's going to be a lot of Jesus juice in the comments, and who cares? Who cares? People are too scared to say, get that Jesus crap out of here. Like, we don't care. Be yourself. Whatever comes to you, whatever you feel, be yourself. No one can tell you what journey you're on, because they're sure as hell not going to come and defend you from any gang stalkers out there or any spiritual attacks or anything like that. The gang stalking is secondary to the spiritual attacks. This is a spiritual battle, and gang stalking is just a portion of that. Gang stalking is just the smoke and the mirrors over top of a spiritual battle, and that's what you need to be mindful of. So I say all of this. Take from it what you can, apply to your situation, be endurant, be the Christ. You are going to be nailed to a cross and crucified, and you will resurrect. As long as you hold on and you endure, you are going to resurrect on the other side a beautiful, better version of yourself, a superhuman version of yourself. So, thank you. Have a great day. And I don't know if the eclipse is done, but I think it is, because it looks like it's light outside. I don't know if anybody caught it. Any questions or concerns, you can leave it in my comment section and I will respond. And I will do a better job at responding kindly, because I don't know who's a gang stalker, but I will do a better job. When you're being sent rage, you sometimes respond in certain ways that are not natural to yourself, and that's something that I'm gonna continue to work on. I want to say I have it figured out, but I don't know yet. So thank you and have a great day, guys. Bye.